Hi, so today I'm going to show you how I've made these really cute little pink and red whimsical candy canes, perfect for either your Christmas tree or wherever you decide to hang these. This is another really simple needle felting project. This is another little fun, simple needle felting craft project that is perfect for Christmas time. I've made these in pink and red because that's the theme I'm going for this year. Obviously, you can make them in red and white if you want to be more traditional, or you can change it up to any colours that you want. Okay, so I've got my needle felting mat. I've got my regular needle. I've got a spiral needle. I've got a pipe cleaner, which I'm going to use half of. I've got my red wool, my light pink, some core wool, a couple of little red ball balls. I've got my glue gun, some twine in a red and white stripe. I've got some light pink ribbon and some red velvet ribbon and a little pair of scissors. Okay, so let's get on with making this. So to start making my candy cane, I've got my half a pipe cleaner and I've just curved this into a candy cane shape. I've got some core wool and I've got my felting needle, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to begin by pulling off bits of my core wool and just wrapping this nice and tightly round the pipe cleaner. I just want to fill this out a bit to give it the thickness that I want, and then I'm just going to felt this on to the pipe cleaner. I've made sure when I wrap the core wool around the pipe cleaner that I've kept it nice and tight so that it reduces the felting time. And then once you're happy that's attached, so I'm happy that that first bit's attached and it's nice and firm, I'm going to go round the rest of it just using the same process, wrapping my wool nice and tight and felting this on so that you can't see any of the pipe cleaner and both ends are covered. Okay, so now I've covered my pipe cleaner in the core wool and I've got a nice firm and even covering of the pipe cleaner. Next up, I've got my red and pink wool, and I'm just going to start by pulling off bits of these. Just sort of twist it to bind it together a bit and then felt a bit in the bottom. To secure that. And then I'm going to decide on the sort of thickness that I want this to go round. And I think I'm be happy with that. I'm not too worried at this point if it's a little bit patchy because I can go back and tweak that after. I'm just going to gradually twist this round. And felt this onto the core wool. Okay, so this is starting to thin out a bit now, which I don't want. So I'm just going to grab a bit more of the red and then add that in. Just to create the same sort of thickness of the band. Now where this is starting to tail off again, I'm just adding in more as I go round. As you go around the corner, you might want to, so I'm just tweaking the thickness of some of these stripes as we go around the curve of the candy cane. And actually, before I start felting this on, I'm just going to try and figure out where I want all these to sit. And as we get to the end, you're just going to poke it in, tail it off, and then poke it in on the end. Once you're happy with those, the spacings between your stripes, I mean, here I've got a bit of a gap that I'm not that happy with, so I'm just going to twist that and just add a bit in. And all I'm going to do here now is I'm going to go around, just tweak my stripes to make sure they're all the thickness that I want, and then fill in any bits that I feel are a bit uneven. Okay, so now I've thickened up and evened up my red stripes, and I'm happy with these. Next up, I'm going to grab my pink, and I'm basically just going to go in between the red and do exactly the same as I did with the red, just twist it round and fill over the white as I go. At this point, I'm not too worried about if the wall is fluffy, because at the end will be when I neaten all of that up. I just want to get it all attached to the core wall structure and just sort of get the shape and the line spacing right. So I'm just going to continue wrapping this round, adding bits as I start to run out until I get to the end. So now I've got all of my red and pink candy stripes on, and I'm happy with the spacing and everything. Next up, I'm going to grab my spiral needle, and I'm just going to go over all of the felting, keeping the lines and the stripes, but I can use the spiral needle to get rid of all the fluffy bits and also to define the lines a bit more, as you can see by just poking that in there between the red and the pink. It's already a much neater and clearer line than it was before. So I'm just going to go over the whole thing with this needle, making sure that everything is well and truly attached, and get rid of any fluffy bits. Okay, so now I've felted on all of the candy cane stripes. To get rid of some of the fluffiness, all I did was I went round with my spiral needle, and that just helped to fix it on and get rid of some of the fluffy bits. So to finish this off, I've got my red and white twine, my two little balls, velvet ribbon, some light pink satin, a needle, pair of scissors, and my glue gun, and two little bands. So I'm going to start by threading my twine through my needle. Now my needle's threaded, I'm going to find the middle point of my candy cane. Please remember that you've got a pipe cleaner through the middle. Poke my needle through. It is a little bit tricky because obviously it's all felted on and you've got double thickness. If needs be, pull your twine back through your eye of your needle and then turn this back round, go back in the slightly different hole, back through. You might want to put your finger through your loop just to stop it from pulling back through. Give it another little twist until it comes back through the other side. Put that back into shape. So next up, I'm going to check my loop size against another one that I've made, because I want them all to hang at the same sort of height. Turn that round and just push it up until they're about the same sort of height. Then I'm going to just put a little knot in there, pull that up, and then figure out which one is your front facing cotton and which one's your back. This, I would say, is my back. So this is going to be my longer bauble. So I'm going to start by threading that on there. Now I want this bauble to sit sort of 3/4 of the way down. So I'm going to tie this off. And then just loosely at this present moment, but I'm happy with where that sort of sits. So just tie that tight now and then give it a second knot. Make sure that's nice and secure and then trim off the excess. Now I'm going to trim off my longer thread, pop this off to one side, grab my second bauble, which I want to just sit just above there. So again, just loosely knotting it at this moment until you know where you want it to sit. When you're happy with the positioning of it, then we can tighten it up, give it a second loop. Again, secure and trim off the excess. So now you've got your baubles both in place, pop this off to one side. Then I'm going to grab my red ribbon, find my center point, then loop in each side, leave some tails and grab one of my little bands, which I will then just put through the middle, neaten those up and just check that against the size of the other ones to make sure, yep, that's about right. Then I've got my middle piece here, and with this I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm just going to use my hot glue, carefully go down the side, one side, and then fold it in half, press it nice and tight, and then grab my glue again, pop this just on the back, press that on, pop another little bit on the back, and then wrap it round and close it off. Once that's stuck, we're just gonna pinch your ends together to do the ends of the bow. Now we can just pop this off to one side. I'm gonna grab the pink ribbon, do exactly the same to make the bow, fold in half, loop, loop, grab the elastic band, and then just fold that round. Check your size again, and then just going to grab the other bit of pink ribbon, pop a bit of glue on the back and do what we did before. Oops. A little bit more, fold that back on itself, trim this off again, and just trim the ends up of the ribbon again. I'm just going to twist these together, lay this red one out flat, and then just put a bit of glue in the middle, and with these twisted together, just attach the pink one in the middle, press it tight until they attach. And then once you're happy they're attached, all that's left to do, grab your candy cane. I'm just going to hold the tails bits down again, and then grab a bit of glue, put it on the middle of the bow, find your center point at the top of the candy cane and the middle of your twine that sits at the top, and then just push that on, holding it until it's attached, and there you go. Remove any bits of glue that are just hanging off. Okay, so there we go. I finished the little whimsical candy cane. Another really simple little needle felting project. I really hope you enjoyed this. If you did and you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you can give this a thumbs up and hit the like. And obviously, if you want to see more like this, please hit subscribe. Thank you.